Hey, how come you never play your guitar anymore?
I'll tell you the truth, Dad. I wasn't good at it right away, so I quit. I hope you're not mad.
Son, come here. Of course I'm not mad. If something's hard to do, then it's not worth doing. You just stick that guitar in the closet next to your shortwave radio, your karate outfit, and your unicycle, and we'll go inside and watch TV.
What's on?
It doesn't matter.
TBTL.
Hey, TV child, look into my eyes. Here by intervention, I want your attention.
Jokes. Do some.
Okay, what makes you laugh?
Comedy.
Obviously.
And sometimes tragedy. Light tragedy. Erectile dysfunction. Non-fatal hunting accidents. Waving at someone you think you know, but it turns out to be a stranger. That sort of thing.
Sure, it's done in the name of comedy, but is debasing ourselves really that hilarious?
I don't know, man.
Don't you kind of feel like a sellout?
Can you really call it a sellout when they give you a free Tesla for doing the show?
And boom goes the dynamite.
Well, all right. Hello, good morning, and welcome everyone to a Tuesday edition of TBTL, the show that just might be too beautiful to live.
Two bros, broing it up.
My name is Luke Burbank. I am your host.
I just want you to be normal, and clearly you're not.
Coming to you from the Madrona Hill studio, perched high above the mighty Columbia, where it is an absolutely disgusting day weather-wise.
Didn't know you like to get wet, though.
Sideways wind, sideways rain. I mean, I guess wind is always sideways. If you've got wind that's coming straight down or straight up, you got a problem. I should probably put the cinder block on the hot tub cover, but we know what an aesthetic guy I am and that I don't like the look of that. So we're just going to all cross our fingers together here on episode 4635 in a collector's series.
Let the fun begin.
I may have, and this is serious now. I'm not just, sometimes I'll employ a little bit of creative exaggeration just to build the drama on the show, you know, just to kind of keep things interesting. I am not being hyperbolic or exaggerating when I say I may have accidentally purchased a firearm on the internet the other day.
Oh my God, that's so crazy. Why?
I will unpack that a little bit. Also, speaking of the internet, I used the internet. I used YouTube last night to figure out how to fix something in my house that I really needed to fix because, it's cold here in January in southern Washington.
I'm learning.
I'm kind of proud of myself, although I did injure myself also in the process of making this repair. So we'll get into all of that, and we'll talk to this guy, longest-running Cobro of the show, maybe best known for his depictions of the tall ships.
He's not Spider-Pig anymore. He's Harry Plopper.
Also known as Andrew Walsh, and he's joining me right now. Good morning, my friend.
Good morning, Luke. If I tell you that I had a dream involving a banana last night, and I want to talk to you about it, will you promise me you won't accuse this dream of being Freudian in some way? Could this be like a banana really was a banana in my dream? Or will you not even entertain that, and therefore I should just skip the topic?
What was the banana talking to a peach? Or some kind of a,
no.
What was Georgia O'Keeffe always painting?
Let's try.
That sort of flower or like a...
No.
Back away, banana breath. What the hell did you just eat? A banana?
Let's try to be adults.
Let's
try to be adults about this, Luke.
Tell me about your phallic dream.
So I'm making love to this banana, right? And it is hot. It is steamy.
I'm picturing it right now.
You know that I don't, and actually I want to talk to you about several fruit-related topics before we get into your new career as a arms dealer, apparently, or maybe an arms acquirer.
So, war dog.
Yeah, but you know I don't like bananas, right? Do you know that?
It's a textural thing or a flavor
thing? I think it's
thing?
mostly a textural
thing,
and it's probably, maybe it just got in my head at some point, because I feel like when I was a very little kid, it was common for me to, I don't know why I said for like that, to cut up bananas and put them in my cereal. This was a memory
we've been on
that
this
you
a bit of late.
Yeah, you uncovered that buried memory when we were talking about fruit and cereal a few weeks ago. And so I know there was a time I ate bananas, and I think bananas are an incredibly healthy food, right? And so there's a reason why we might encourage kids to eat them. But at some point, I was just like, I am done with this. And like, it ranks pretty high up there for something that comes from the ground, like for something that is like literally a whole food
grows in the ground, man.
That is just a totally natural, non-animal thing. You would think that, well, I can handle it, but like bananas really ick me out. But last night in my dream, I was at a restaurant. I think I had been dining with Nora McInerney, by the way. She made an appearance in the dream.
Oh.
But then I was sitting at the table by myself, and somebody, maybe with the check or with a dessert situation, it was like a fancy restaurant, and they brought me just a banana. But it was a brand new, very fresh banana. And in the dream, I was like, I don't like bananas, but look at this thing. Like, I'm in a fancy restaurant. This is the best banana
Nora
that
forced
you're going
you
to get.
eat it. She was like, I'm picking you up from the airport with a banana.
That's right. Nora, well, never mind. But anyway, in the dream, Nora's not there anymore, but I just remember thinking, like, if you're ever going to eat a banana, this would be the banana to try. Like, it's a fresh one. It's like, it's not. Yeah. And even in the dream, I'm thinking, it's not like this is one of those brown bananas somebody's been carrying around in their purse for 3 days and then offers it to you at the DMV, which isn't something that happened to me, but it feels like something that could happen to me. This is the pristine version of a banana. And in the banana, I peel it, and it looks very fresh. There are no spots or anything. And I believe I took the tiniest little bite of it. And I don't remember really what happens next, whether I loved it or hated it. I think it was basically fine, and I woke up. But I'm wondering, as we do continue to explore the new year here on January 6th, is there meaning in this? Is this about me
there is.
trying new things, new phallic things?
Yes, it's absolutely what that means. Eggplants also count.
Yes,
I think of other highly sexualized emojis.
What I dreamt about the night before, as a matter of fact.
Well, okay, so I don't want to loop you into my shenanigans, but something that I have been trying to do a little bit more of late, and you reminded me now, or I'm thinking about this in the context of 2026, is I'm trying to eat mushrooms a little bit more, because I've never really liked mushrooms. I certainly am not like a guy who likes a big portobello mushroom type of thing, or even those, what do you call those, just kind of the standard mushroom that we grew up with that was in a lot of salads and stuff, just kind of a large...
Table mushrooms.
Table mushroom?
No, I'm just joking. Because you told me about
table syrup.
Table syrup. I know what you're talking about.
Right.
I think they're just like white mushrooms probably, right? If you buy them at the store.
Because like if you grew up in the 80s as we did, as I did, in a not particularly adventurous food culture, there were no like chanterelles, there were no like lobster, whatever, you know what I mean? Like all this exotic mushrooms that we're foraging now and that we're putting in things. That was not part of the experience. Mushrooms were just like that one dusty ass white mushroom that I did not like the taste of as a kid. That was the kind of default setting on mushrooms.
And you're talking about having them specifically kind of raw on a salad, not sauteed up with butter or whatever.
Even when they were sauteed up with butter, or in something that was cooked. I'm talking about them in any form or fashion.
Raw. Okay, gotcha.
Cooked or raw. I never liked the taste of them, and then it was just one of those things, and you can identify with this, Andrew, which is like I didn't like it in childhood, and I just kind of carried that into adulthood with me. And then particularly when I started becoming a person who mostly doesn't eat meat, very often the substitute for that is like a portobello steak or something that seemed real mushroomy to me. And so I just was continued on. I'm 49. Well, it's staring down the barrel of 50 here. And I've just always been like, no, miss me with those mushrooms. And Becca was saying, you might want to really like re-examine that, because there's a lot of different mushrooms other than a portobello and like that, whatever that white mushroom is that we were talking about. And a lot of them are much more subtle in their flavor. They take on the flavor of whatever they're being cooked in. And if I just start trying them in small amounts and not just always saying, hold the mushrooms if I order something that has mushrooms in it, I might be able to, over time, kind of acclimate to that, And so I've been doing that, and it's kind of working.
It's so weird. I had a dream about, maybe that's what's going on. Maybe the more interesting part of this story is you and I have achieved some sort of a two-man pluribus, where you're actually trying to eat mushrooms and I'm having a dream about it.
Well, I was just going to say, I'll try to eat mushrooms and you try to eat bananas.
No.
Okay.
I don't think that I'm ready. I think the banana can maybe be symbolic, and maybe I can try new things, but not a literal banana. I'm not going to go that far, obviously.
The difference also is that there aren't, like for me, not eating mushrooms is actually like a sort of it's a sort of structural problem in a lot of my dining experience, because if I'm looking at the menu at the restaurant or I'm going somewhere. In fact, Becca and I went to a kind of a birthday get together in Portland during the holidays, and it was a lovely, lovely evening. But the people who were hosting were kind enough to have like a meat course and then a vegetarian course, and then of course the vegetarian course is like portobello mushroom. I mean, I'm sure if you liked portobello mushrooms, these were the greatest stuffed portobello mushroom cap you've ever seen. Like, these folks were real gourmands. But I just like get in there and I look over and I'm like, wah, 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 wah.
Yeah.
So like, if I could kind of just, what I've been doing is, like, if I order Thai food, I'm not holding the mushrooms, because a lot of times those will be, I don't know what exactly those mushrooms are called, but they're pretty subtle and pretty mild. And I'm just trying to kind of like not constantly avoid mushrooms and then start eating them and have it not be such a, it actually reminds me, well, this is a weird comparison, but like, I was listening to our buddy Chris Hayes' podcast this morning, Why Is This Happening? Really good episode about self-driving cars and like just where the technology is at and what's really going on with it. And one of the things that the guy he was interviewing was saying was that the experience that most people have is the first time they're in a self-driving car, it's like a mind-blowing experience. You're videotaping it on your phone. You're like calling your friends, which is exactly what I did. I made a whole, I think, like Hey Dummies video in a Waymo in San Francisco. But when I was in LA for Christmas with Addie, I exclusively took Waymos because, by the way, they were cheaper than Lyfts and Ubers, which is 100% like Zuckerberg just subsidizing it. Like, there's no way that thing is cheaper to operate currently than like an Uber. But
is Waymo Zuckerberg? I don't think I realized that.
Thought it was. I think it might be Google. Well, no, Google. Okay, it's probably not Zuckerberg. It's Sergey and Larry.
Yes.
But I told you that when I was in Miami and I went to that unexpectedly fancy dinner, friggin' Sergey Brin was sitting next to me.
No, I don't think you told me that. Or if so, I forgot. Huh.
Yeah, when I was in
how do you
Miami.
know?
Well, because somebody said that's Sergey Brin, and I looked over and it was the guy, the co-founder.
You know what he looks like? Like
totally.
Like I have no idea. I mean, I'm going to take a stab in the dark here and guess that he's white.
He is white. Then did the name Sergey Brin tip you off?
Yes,
but
the fact that he's one of the most famous tech bros. But no, I don't know that. But I would have no. That's just I'm face blind anyway. But there's also people just like I have no idea what Sergey Brin looks like.
He's sort of in the he's in that echelon of those sorts of guys. I mean, that's why I would also recognize, like I said, I would recognize Larry Ellison. Well, I got a lot of reasons to recognize Larry Ellison. Chiefly, his kid bought the TV network I worked for. But all that is to say, I had that experience that they were talking about on Chris's show today about like the first Waymo that I took in LA this Christmas, and I took a lot of them. I could not have been less sort of I couldn't have been taking note of the fact that it was a robot less.
Yeah.
I just got in and I was just on my phone or I was listening to my music and just kind of, by the way, that's something that's also pretty cool with these things is that, you can stream your music through them. And so, you walk up to the thing and it's got this spinning kind of, I don't know if it's LED, but it's got a spinning display that'll say LB because that's, I guess, how I'm logged into Waymo. Because sometimes there'll be a few of them. So it'll be spinning. It'll be like, that's the one for me. Your phone just says unlock. You hit unlock on the thing. It unlocks the doors of the car you get in. It says, Happy Holidays, Luke. And you sit in. You want to know what I was the most blown away by? And this is actually the simplest part of this technology. Forget like autonomous driving and like all of the things the car has to figure out. You know what blew my mind?
Heated seats.
On like, kind of a version of that. I got on one of the trips, I noticed that it was like a little warmer in the car than I needed it to be. So I got on the app. I turned the temperature down to 65 degrees. And then the next day when I got in a Waymo, it was 65 degrees.
Oh, that is interesting.
It knows my temperature. And then I changed it because I was a little cold. I made it like 68 degrees. And then 24 hours later, I get in a different Waymo. 68 degrees.
Oh.
Like something about that, like basically like the profile of what I want that cocoon to feel like, and the fact that it just like chirped right into my Spotify. I mean, again, I don't want to say dystopian, but there's a certain kind of Blade Runner-ification. I mean, the most Blade Runner it got is like Christmas Eve. Addie and I, we went and got dinner at the Dresden Room in Los Feliz, which was really fun. We went back to her house for a bit, and then I jump in the Waymo, and I'm heading back to my hotel, and it's like, I think it's Blue Christmas by Elvis is playing on the stereo in the driverless car, speeding through LA at about 11:50 p.m. on Christmas Eve. And if that didn't feel like Johnny Cab, I don't know what does.
No kidding. By the way, Leanie wasn't playing at the Dresden, was she? Because you mentioned you saw her in LA too, and that's one of her, I think, favorite venues to play in as prom queen.
I love that place. Yeah, no, they didn't have any live music on Christmas Eve at
booth,
the old.
As somebody one time described a booth to me, this was in Ohio, not specifically about the Dresden Room, but I think a booth you could plan a murder in. That's my favorite kind of booth you can sit in, right? Don't they have some of those nice round, like big, big old school steakhouse booths on the one side of the
Yeah,
the
I think they might have remodeled the dining area. The funny thing I was saying to Addie was, because she made the reservation, I don't know if I'd ever been in the restaurant side of the Dresden Room, because I was always, like, I lived in L.A. and an era, and also in a kind of, this is embarrassing to admit, but like the Dresden Room plays a big role in the movie Swingers. They really liked
I didn't know that
place. And so, of course, that went into my brain as like a cool thing. And so when I first moved to L.A., me and the Mummy and other people, we were constantly going to the Dresden Room. But the bar side, the side you're talking about that has like this kind of great seating. And there was this married duo, Marty and Elaine, that played there for years that were kind of, how would you describe the music of Marty and Elaine? A little bit.
They were like a two
kind of lounge singer, but
the booth I've been on both sides, but the booths I was talking about were on the dining room side, which was really old school. If I remember, I would be shocked if they got rid of them. But some of those like almost full circle red leather booths with
they're white now.
With Oh, maybe they always were. Maybe I'm misremembering that. But white,
well, then they're the same ones.
But like kind of white tablecloth, classic, kind of like L.A. kind of old school. It
was awesome.
I love both sides of that.
But just there's something about, and by the way, it's Christmas Eve, so there's nobody on the streets of Los Angeles. It's just totally like, it's me and the Waymo and a song from 75 years ago.
Yeah, right.
And the empty streets of 2025 Los Angeles as we just kind of sort of speed through the night. And all that is to say, Andrew, in the way that I became quickly, it no longer felt like a huge experience to be in a driverless car. I want to get to that same place with mushrooms.
Yeah, sure. Or, I mean, when you were telling the driverless car thing, I was thinking about the first time I was on an airplane that I remembered. I think I flew when I was a tiny tot. But when I was like a 20, I think my first real flight as a conscious person or whatever was in my very early 20s. And I was out of my mind. I was out of my mind at the fact that I was
that going to like a job interview in Interlaken?
That was going out to visit my friend Paul in Boston, where I would where on that same trip I would meet Genevieve. In fact, so about 25 years ago, almost exactly. But anyway, But I just remember being so nervous. I was like picking at something on my face, and then as we took off, I realized I was bleeding from my face.
Oh my god!
Because I was like, I had all this nervous energy about it, and of course, it's not like that when you just get on a flight now and you're just like grumpy because the seat in front of you, you're just like hoping the whole time that the guy with the backwards ball cap in front of you isn't going to put his seat back on your knees. It's just like it could not be less of an exciting moment. So anyway, sorry to cut you off. And you just want to normalize mushrooms, and I want even though I like mushrooms and I'll saute up mushrooms or mushrooms and onions or something from time to time, and I like them raw. I totally understand that. You know what I mean? That's not. I would never be like, oh my god, how could you not like mushrooms? I mean, they're weird, man. Like even if you don't like the flavor, like the texture raw is completely different than the texture when it's cooked, and they're both pretty weird.
Now, this raises the question. When you were talking about bananas earlier, I was wondering, how do you mess with avocado then? Because I think I think the texture of avocado is, I like avocado fine. I like guacamole, as George Takei would say. I was listening to a lot of the Howard Stern show last night as I was working on my pellet stove. And it's like, you want to talk about, sometimes, our show obviously is a weird kind of digression upon a digression upon a digression. But like when you hear Steve Nowicki doing his George Takei impression saying guacamole to Howard Stern, you've really entered like a pretty big digression that I was extremely there for, by the way.
But to answer your question about
Avocados,
guacamole,
are they weird to you?
Yeah, kind of. Like I don't mess with them too much. I make a summer salad that calls for them, but just kind of diced up, so it's not too. It doesn't kind of, they don't break down too much in the salad and give it too much of a creamy effect. So
that's the basic thing you're
fine
trying
with
to
it.
avoid is creaminess, whether it's in cottage cheese or bananas. That kind of creamy thing is that's what you're put off by.
Yeah, and then, well, I probably added too much detail there. In this particular salad, I just like everything to be very individualized and crispy and whatever. And so I don't want it to get too, but an avocado will break down a little bit to give it a little bit of a different texture. But for the most part, you ask how I mess with them. I really don't. I don't avoid them, but if it's a chips and guac or chips and salsa, I'm chips and salsa like 100% of the time. I don't.
What about
crave
that corn
guacamole.
salad you make? Does that
That's
have
the
any,
one I'm
like-
talking about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's why I realize I'm rat holing on it. But like what I like to do with that salad is I like to cut everything. So that's a corn and bean salad, but it also has some vegetables, tomatoes or whatever, and avocado. And I try to cut it so it's all very similar sizes. You know what I mean? So I get really kind of into that. And so with the avocado, I do that thing where you cut the avocado in half. It is a very fun thing to prepare, isn't it? Avocado. You cut it in half, and then I cut it within its shell. I cut like a
I didn't even know
grid.
that was a thing.
I cut a grid inside the
And
shell. into
it
these
still
tiny little
has
things.
the like outer kind of rough skin on it.
Yeah, I'm calling it a shell, but like a skin. So if you imagine I'm holding it, and it's facing you, like a George O'Keefe, and then I'm
Have you been having avocado dreams too?
Yes, and then I take a little paring knife, right, and I go zing 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 zing, and I make a bunch of lines up and down, and then I make a bunch of lines across it, and then I flip it inside. I use my thumbs and I push the skin inside out, and then all of those things fall out. Now they're kind of.
Did you like invent this technique, or did somebody
have
teach you this at some point?
Literally no idea. I just thought
Because
that's
I've
the way
never
to do
heard of
it.
this. It actually makes some sense.
Although somebody must have told me to do it this way, because I wouldn't have invented this.
Because you could be playing a dangerous game, which is sometimes if the avocado is not totally ripe, it may not detach from the skin as easily as you would hope. So like when you do that, you got to hope that that the avocado is going to play along with what you've already committed to.
Yeah, somebody or something told me to do that at one point I don't know if it was for this recipe or something else. And of course, when you push it out, now you kind of, depending on where the avocado chunk was, you could have a kind of a long, almost like a longish French fry of it or something. So you might want to kind of dice it again into little bits. But
What about
yeah.
What about this is to me the ultimate cool guy move when you're dealing with an avocado, and I would cut them maybe differently. Not that I think this is the great technique, but what I saw the first time, what I saw, as my mom might say, was you sort of you cut the avocado in half, and then you kind of twist it. You open it up, so now you're holding one side of the avocado that does not have any pit in it, and then the other side has a pit that's protruding. And then you see the cool guy move of where you just like thwonk the knife, the corner of the knife into the pit, and then you pull it out.
Oh, the corner of the knife. I just do the flat, sharp end. I just like throw it in there like.
Somehow, I guess I never thought that would like
and then I
grab
twist
it enough. I've always been like, I've always tried to use the little L corner of the knife because somehow in my mind that seemed more. You're getting more surface area. I don't know.
Well, no, I wonder if that makes more sense because my thing is I love doing that. It's so satisfying,
right?
When that knife goes into the pit, and then I twist the knife so it kind of like you use the torque, right? I love all of that. I love all of that. That's some of my favorite vegetable interplay right there.
What this is making me think of when we're talking about your famous corn salad is that the summer is It will happen, Andrew. It will. It doesn't feel like it today, but at some point we'll be eating corn salad and watching baseball.
But my thing is then when you have the avocado pit on the, like kind of on the sharp edge of a very, very sharp knife, then I'm always kind of like, now what have you done to yourself, Walsh? You got to be very careful getting it
Grab
off
this
the knife,
slippery ball off of this sharp implement.
Right? Like sometimes what I'll do is I have that compost little tin on my counter, so sometimes I try to use the corner of the tin to knock it off. What are you doing? Just like being very careful and grabbing it?
I'm grabbing it carefully, but I'm also wondering, is this the time where I put this avocado pit in some kind of a glass, like a sixth grader with toothpicks and grow a new avocado? I don't know if that's how that works, but I feel like avocados are not cheap, and I'm holding the building blocks of a new avocado, the building block, I should say, of a new avocado. Why are we not all, and again, probably has to do with like temperature and what region you're in. But like, I don't think I'm really in the avocado belt of America, but I do feel like, am I holding another free avocado here that I'm just throwing out?
That's a really good point. I get that way with garlic sometimes. Sometimes I threw some old garlic into just like a flower pot that happened to be empty, but was still like above my sink or whatever. And sure as heck, it started growing, and I was very excited about that. But then I kind of didn't have the follow through to actually like get it to the next level of growth. One more question. Actually, you had some things in your intro that I'm actually very interested in hearing about. So I don't know why I would bring this up now, but I wanted to ask you if you like grapefruit, because it never occurred to me that people wouldn't like grapefruit, but then I saw some anti-grapefruit sentiment online the other day, and somebody, and I'll never forget this, I think somebody said, because I really like grapefruit, but somebody said eating a grapefruit is like eating an orange that's combined with a car tire. And I was like, oh, I guess I do understand that. Like, it's kind of hard to get all the rind, get a clean piece of the fruit without like rind sticking to it. I mean, I really love it, but I guess I understand why people wouldn't.
It would never occur to me in a million years to buy a grapefruit.
Oh, I bought one yesterday.
But if I was at a breakfast buffet type of situation or whatever, and there was some like sliced up, whatever you do. Sliced is kind of the wrong way to describe it, it would seem, because you are doing a bit of an extraction process, an excision of the grapefruit, of the meat of the grapefruit. Anyway, if there was grapefruit that someone had prepared, I would throw a piece on my plate. It's always more tart than I expect it to be. Mm-hmm. And so that for me is the problem with grapefruit as part of the breakfast experience or any other experience. If I'm eating it with other things, it's a real pucker factor, right?
Is.
So like I have a bite of this grapefruit, and now it's like, now my mouth is going, and my taste buds are going on we've veered off the road in a pretty extreme fashion of whatever else I was eating. I do like grapefruit juice. Mm-hmm, and if it's ever like let's say if I was in Vegas, like you are soon to be, my friend, I cannot wait for this.
That's right. I'll be there on Monday.
I cannot wait to hear about it. I'm so excited. But if I were in Vegas and I were going to have a little morning, like a champagne type of cocktail or even like a vodka cocktail, I would go with a Greyhound potentially.
Oh, yeah, that's wonderful.
Or I would go with a champagne and grapefruit juice. So I'm not anti-grapefruit, but like I've never bought a grapefruit in the store other than maybe some specific thing that was happening in like cooking. Like it would never occur to me to have a grapefruit around for just eating, for just snacking.
I literally have a stopwatch here. I'm going to do this under 30 seconds because it's the world's most boring story. And then we're going to either thank the donors or you're going to talk about something more interesting that you promoted at the beginning of the show. But I think I can do this in probably 20 seconds, but I'm going to put a limit at 30. You don't hear it. We're up to 1 second already. Yesterday, late last night, before going to bed, I wanted a little snack. I had half of a grapefruit left over in the fruit drawer. And so I took that out and I ate it, but it wasn't quite enough for me. So then I went back to the fruit drawer and I grabbed a little orange, one of those little mini oranges. I can't remember what you call them. And I ate that thing. Yeah, it was like a cutie.
Or Satsuma?
It was so unbelievably good because my mouth was prepared for all the... Oh, I'm already over 30 seconds. All right, I'm done.
And I've got follow-ups. So we're...
I've got a lot of thoughts. That was 34 seconds I wasted the first few.
Well, that's an interesting idea. So in other words, you had the grapefruit was so tart that by comparison, the little mandarin orange or whatever it was like a sugar bounty.
It tasted like a covenant with God. It was so good. It was like, you know how like when you grow up...
I grew up with a covenant with God, which is how I got a child at 17, by the way.
I phrased that the wrong way. But I mean that like, you know how when they would describe like the Garden of Eden before original sin, everything so good.
Amazing.
Our human minds in the modern world couldn't even imagine what it would be like to be in the Garden of Eden or to eat the fruits of the trees. That is what that little Satsuma tastes like yesterday. And I loved the grapefruit, but I didn't realize that I was playing games with my taste buds.
So one follow-up is, I didn't realize you have a fruit drawer in your refrigerator. Sure. I have 2 drawers in my refrigerator, and one of them is for veggies, and the other is for cheese. because I eat a lot of cheese. So and if my dad's over and he's got like turkey lunch meat or something, there's like the meat and cheese drawer, and then there's the vegetable drawer. There is no fruit drawer. Part of it is because I guess I don't eat nearly as much fruit as you, but also I'm not sure like if I am keeping the fruit in the fridge or out of the fridge. So you're a fruit in the fridge. Does that preserve it longer? And by the way, I have one more thing I want to say on this topic after you answer that question.
Well, unfortunately, I mean, I'm not even going to set a clock for this because if we're going to do this, we're going to do this. Like, you know that I am somebody who does not like to get into like, you're doing it wrong, you're eating it wrong when it comes to food or whatnot. Everybody should just eat it the way they want to eat. And if somebody says they don't like a food, I'm certainly not somebody who's going to say, oh, you're wrong, like mushrooms are great or whatever, because I have all of my weird food stuff too. But do you remember when we had our friend Cassie on the show? And I think we had this conversation on the air. She was talking about how she doesn't like fruit. Like, generally speaking, she's not a fruit person until she tried a grape that you guys both bonded over. That's why I can't remember if this in the video.
Candy grape.
That cotton candy grape from Trader Joe's or something. And maybe it was started off on her Instagram.
I just bought some of those.
But she was just like, I'm not a fruit girl, but like I do love these grapes or whatever. And like, I don't want to tell somebody like, oh, if you don't like fruit, you're doing it wrong. You should try it this way. But I think about that all the time because I think people who think they don't like fruit need to put that fruit in the refrigerator. I do not like warm fruit. Like the idea of having a bowl of oranges and apples on the table, like that does nothing for me. I love an ice cold apple out of the fruit drawer. I love an ice cold orange out of the fruit drawer. Like, to me, that is the beauty of these fruits. Warm fruit has no place in my life.
It doesn't, because there's a lot of debate around tomatoes. And if putting tomatoes in the refrigerator, which does preserve them. I saw Kenji Lopez Alt talking about this recently. Like, you put a tomato in the refrigerator, it will preserve the tomato for longer, but there is a school of thought that it also kind of tamps down the flavor a little bit.
I believe that.
Yeah. And the thing Becca always tells me is, like, you just keep whatever it is you're buying that's a perishable fruit or vegetable, you just treat it in the home environment the way that it was treated at the grocery store. That's what she tells me. So if it was in some kind of cooling case, that's what you put it in. If it wasn't, you don't. But what I've noticed is stuff keeps a lot longer if I put it in the refrigerator, because sometimes it takes me a while to get through stuff. I'm a big refrigerator putter-inner. Now, the other thing that I just ordered, and this could lead us into a whole other conversation about other things I've been purchasing on TikTok, is I bought these little like sort of Tupperware containers. I think it's a set of 5 or 6 of them of varying sizes. But what they have in each one is a little metal basket that's inside the Tupperware container. And the entire point is, when you get your fruits home, I should say. So I just was at Trader Joe's recently, and I bought some of those grapes you were talking about, and I bought some blueberries. And what you do is you just dump those. You take them right out of the plastic container they've been in. You put them right into one of these little Tupperware things that has a strainer in it. You put it in your sink. You fill it up with water. You let it just soak for a little while and clean off the fruit. And then you pull that strainer out. You dump the dirty water out, which, by the way, shockingly dirty. Like the blueberries, because sometimes, let's be honest, I know we should all be washing our fruits and veggies. Sometimes I'm hungry. Sometimes I'm lazy. And so anyway, I did that with this. I got these in the mail, these little things, and I immediately put these blueberries into one of them, and I filled it up with water. I just let it kind of set there for a little while. Then I came and I pulled it out, just like I'd seen on TikTok, and then I looked at the water, and I was shocked at how murky that water was. Dumped it out, and then put the strainer with the blueberries back in the thing, put the lid on it, and put it into my refrigerator. So my point is, I think I'm going to become a refrigerated fruit man like you've been recommending.
Is the strainer there just for the cleaning purposes, or also is there some sort of advantage to having the fruit like kind of not sitting on just like the bottom of a Tupperware?
I think it's probably just there. I think it's promoted as just being something that's a little bit easier to kind of clean them. And I will say,
I'm interested.
It did feel to me like an easier process than, I don't know, I guess I could have just, I mean, there's a bunch of things you could do. Because, like the blueberries, they come in that plastic container, whatever you call that disposable kind of thing.
Diaper in the bottom of it. I don't like that. I don't like that diaper. I gotta be honest with you.
So it's like, what are you going to do?
I don't like that diaper, and I don't like the diaper when it's on chicken.
When you get the blueberries home, what are you doing with them? Are you putting them into a different container and washing them? Are you washing them in that weird diaperized container and leaving them in there? Like, what's your process?
For blueberries, I'm probably soaking them in that container because it's already kind of like colander-esque, like you said, right? It's got a bunch of slits in it. So I will probably soak them. I will like get them, with cold water, really rinse them off in that, and then maybe let them dry in that. Or I think I'm maybe likely to then take my colander. I got a couple colanders always kicking around. I'll probably dump them into a colander and shake them up a little bit and set them on a towel for a little bit. Then transfer them into some sort of a old soup container or a Tupperware of some sort or something and seal them up and put it in the fridge. That's what I'm doing with my berries. Honestly, with those, I'm probably then mixing them up into some pineapple and stuff. But that is definitely a lot of fruit talk. But yeah, I definitely, as far as preserving it, like putting it in the refrigerator to preserve it, like, to be honest, I go through fruit so quickly, it's not about extending the life of it. It's just that I don't want to bite into a warm apple or a warm orange. Like, it just doesn't hold any appeal to me.
Well, I need to get because 2025 was the year of me eating more fruit, and it really did happen, and it really was. I found it to be an enjoyable experience, and now 2026 is a year of me dialing in my fruit game.
Nice.
So by the time this summer hits, which I really think of as fruit season, I'm going to have a whole, me and my systems, usually which involves internet purchases. I'm going to just have a whole, it's going to be like a cross-section of a city when you open my refrigerator. There's going to be all these different layers,
I love
levels.
it.
It's going to be like a Wes Anderson. It's going to be like the Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou in there with my different fruits that are chilling in their different containers that I've bought from China.
You're going to make a fruit salad that has mushrooms and fruit in it. You're like, look, I'm better now.
That's going to be my new diet. It's going to be all mushroom and fruit diet. All right, let's do this. Let's thank some donors, and then we'll, if you don't mind, we'll stay on the topic of my internet purchasing, because this is a real thing, Andrew, that I don't know what's going on with this. I don't know what is going to go on with this, but I need to tell you about it coming up here.
Thank you, baby.
All right, speaking of those donors, let's get to thanking them. They are keeping TBTL on the air 5 days a week. This is 100% listener supported podcasting. And it's thanks to folks like John Smith of Tacoma, Washington.
We have got to get pronouncers on these names. Are you sure you got that one?
I would not put it past me to somehow fumble the bag even on John Smith, but I hopefully got that one right.
You got it. Thank you, John. Appreciate it.
Thanks, John. Thanks to Eliza Kurtz, who's in Wilmington, Delaware.
Eliza, thank you.
Yeah, Wilmington, Delaware. That's got to have some sort of American revolutionary connotation, right?
I'm sure.
Don't you think there must have been some? Well, I guess George Washington was crossing the Delaware River, right? In that famous painting.
But what
I wonder if he was
happened
going to Wilmington.
Was there a battle of Wilmington?
Seems like there must have been. It just sounds very kind of fundamental to the formation of this country.
The Battle of Wilmington. This is Civil War, though, and is it the wrong Wilmington? Yeah, this is going to be Wilmington, North Carolina. So there is a Battle of Wilmington, but it has absolutely nothing to do with Eliza. I do not believe she is a veteran of that war.
Do we know where Eliza was during the Battle of Wilmington? Can she account for her whereabouts?
What I like is that you're asking the right questions.
Thank you. Michael Muelling is in Mount Lake Terrace, Washington, home of 0 Civil War or American Revolution battles. That's something that I was thinking about diving back into this week, because it's just, as I mentioned at the top of the show, and this is not shocking, it is just the weather is rough right now. It's getting dark. It's still very dark, very early. It's just it's like stay indoors kind of season weather. I was thinking about jumping back into that Ken Burns.
Which one?
Revolutionary War doc.
Oh.
I started watching it at my folks' house on like Thanksgiving night or something, and or maybe the night before Thanksgiving. And
is that his latest? That's his latest thing?
Yes, it's his latest.
Okay.
And I think it's the American Revolution, because he's done the Civil War.
That was one of his two most famous ones, I would say, were probably Civil War and baseball, right? And this would have been in the late 90s, early 2000s, maybe.
Yeah, I think this one is American Revolution. And this is probably part of the aging process or whatever, and it's not a particularly novel thing to say, but man, I do like those shows. Like there's just such an incredibly vast amount of stuff that I just don't know about the history of our country.
Me too.
And I'm never going to be a historian, and I'm never going to be a deep diver on these things. But as somebody who likes to know about 1 inch of information about a broad range of things, the Ken Burns stuff is kind of perfect because, there's just like, I understand generally speaking that we fought the British, to like establish this place as an independent nation, but like that's about the depth of my knowledge.
Yeah, there was some tea involved.
Yes, and I'll spill it, and I don't care who hears. I did watch also Death by Lightning during my little break, which is really good. Would recommend.
What is that?
It is the story of James Garfield being shot, and the man who shot him. And Garfield is played by Michael Shannon. And the man who shot him is played by one of the main dudes from Succession. I didn't watch Succession. Like the main son, the oldest son on Succession. Did you watch Succession?
I did, but you're talking about the character actor. I mean, the guy who's like I'm sorry, not character actor. He's the method
British
actor.
in real life.
Oh, I think we're maybe talking about somebody else. It's Death by Lightning. I'll look here, but I'm
Death by Lightning. Yeah, Death by Lightning is. So speaking of how much I don't know about American history, I don't think I realized that like Garfield was shot.
So it's Matthew McFadden. He's not one of
Matthew
the sons.
McFadden.
He plays like an in-law. He plays a son-in-law.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
Sorry about that.
No problem.
I clearly did not. You're clearly not a bowler, or whatever he says. So that guy, Matthew McFadden, is great in it, as is, of course, Michael Shannon, as is Nick Offerman is really good in it. So it's like, and
Some
I'm not
our best beards.
I mean, I've seen the best beards of my time. Driven insane. And it's not a spoiler to say that like Garfield was shot, although kind of for me it was, because I don't think I would have known that if you woke me up out of a dead sleep 3 weeks ago and said like name U.S. presidents who were shot in office, Garfield wouldn't have been at the top of the list. But it's a crazy story because at least as the way it's told in this show, Death by Lightning. Which, by the way, the reason for that name is because somebody's asking, I think, Garfield about if he's worried about being assassinated in office. And he says that's like worrying about death by lightning. You just can't go around being afraid of it all the time. And the story of the Matthew McFadden character is like, he's just this guy who was likely mentally ill, but just kind of like always getting into trouble and kind of just like always had these big ideas that he couldn't quite deliver on. And he had like stolen money from his family, had this long suffering sister. He was sort of in and out of jail and institutions, but also kind of fancied himself a political. He basically, what happens is he gets it in his head, the Matthew McFadden character, that he's helped get James Garfield elected because he was allowed to like make a kind of a small speech at a very small political event somewhere that Garfield wasn't even at, but it goes into his kind of, his brain chemistry. And eventually, because he's feeling slighted by the Garfield presidency and he's not getting his face time with this president that he feels he's elected, he ends up like killing him. But also Garfield didn't die right away. Like he gets shot, but then he's alive for like another month. And there's this like terrible doctor that like is just doing these procedures on him that are probably hastening his death versus helping him. Anyway, it's a really well done. It's like, I think 3-parter, but Death by Lightning would recommend.
Okay.
On the subject of Mount Lake Terrace, I would recommend the TV show Death by Lightning.
I am just now, like in this moment, starting to work on some sort of a theory, and I don't even know what the theory is, but I need your help kind of completing it or at least creating the boundaries around it. So I did not know that there's this new movie / miniseries or whatever about a guy named Garfield. I was at the theater the other day and I saw a trailer for a new adaptation of Wuthering Heights. Do you know the main character in Wuthering Heights?
Heathcliff?
Is there something going on with the orange cats? Is this like some? Are they warming us up for a
with
great
the cartoon cats of my youth?
That's right. Something is going on
here. If you bring in Riff Raff and Mungo, we got a situation here.
Oh man!
Good point. I like your theory. I'm here for it. Also, Sarah Newlon of Bothell, Washington, is here for it.
Hey, thank you, Sarah. Appreciate that.
Thanks, Sarah. Thanks to Myra Lovell of Portland, Oregon.
Portland.
Hey,
nice.
That's just down Interstate 5 from me. And if the wind does what it's trying to do, my hot tub cover may be down by your house.
Keep an eye
Myra.
out. Oh, Myra.
Yeah,
Myra's
keep an eye
the
out.
one who's keeping an eye out. Yes.
If you see a hot tub cover, many people sent me links to Amazon straps that you can buy, and I saw those, and then I got distracted. But I need to do that, or because otherwise I need to just keep doing this cinder block thing, which really does bother me.
While we are thanking donors here, I would like to thank the anonymous listener who sent me a bag of Bit-O-Honey candy. I got, there was a package directly from Amazon in our P.O. box yesterday, and I was like, what is this? It was kind of heavy, and it was shaky, and so I opened it up right away, and it was a whole bag of Bit-O-Honey. Am I hitting the O weird?
Yes,
weird.
I think you're saying it right. No, I think you're saying it exactly right. Bit-O-Honey.
Bit-O-Honey. And
like Beto O'Rourke. One day we'll turn Texas, Andrew. One day. Is Beto O'Rourke a show title?
Thank you for the Secretary of Transportation candies. That's what he held for a while there, right? Wasn't he?
No, that's Buttigieg.
Buttigieg. Why do I get confused? Oh,
Beto was the guy who almost won a Senate seat out of Texas. That's against Ted Cruz, and is sort of, still kind of knocks around as an idea of a Democrat that might be able to win in Texas.
Right. I think that's because the names both begin with B. I'm getting hot. My face is flushing. Let's just move on after that blunder.
You know who is not judging us on that? Elizabeth Siddle, who's in Washington, D.C. Although, who knows? Being in D.C., Elizabeth could be a D.C. power player.
Yes, she
might know Buttigieg.
Yeah.
Maybe she's gone from judging us the least to judging us the most. I don't know. But critically, Elizabeth is donating to the show and helping us do this. So thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you to all of our donors for making TBTL possible. We absolutely could not do this without you.
Hello and welcome to Top Story.
So the other day, Andrew, I was on TikTok, as I am wont to do. Although I'm really going to try to work on that like this week and also this year. I'm committing myself to a project of reading a physical book or magazine for 1 hour a day, which is time that right now I just spend oftentimes just mindlessly looking at my screen. Like far too much of my time off in the holidays. I mean, I had a really great time. I got to spend some time, obviously, with my daughter. Got to spend some time with Becca. Got to see family and friends. It was a really nice time off for me, and I got to really connect with a lot of people. I also connected way too much with staring at my phone because I felt like, well, I'm on vacation and this is fun for me, and I like to just this is how I relax now. But I feel my brain atrophying, and my attention span, I should say, really atrophying. And so one of the things I'm really going to try to do, I think you're so much better about this than I am because you read books, and I get the sense. Well, I don't know what your general thing is. My sense is you do it sometimes to fall asleep. Maybe
I do read. I always fall asleep with my phone in my hand
but reading a book, right?
A book up, yeah. Because I think if I were scrolling a social media site, I don't think that would. Yeah. I just don't think it would put me to sleep. But I really do enjoy reading books. I mean, I read them on my phone. It's weird. I
consider that reading. I don't think there's anything wrong with it being on the phone at all.
For me, I miss a physical book, and I almost went and got a physical copy of the book I'm reading right now. But the thing is, my eyesight is so bad. And also, if I'm going to bed, I don't want to have a light on in the room while Genevieve's trying to sleep, then if I'm going out to read somewhere, honestly, if it's a somewhat ill-lit restaurant or something that I'm holding the book up to my face, I kind of need it on my phone now.
Yeah, I mean, I got a tight 2 hours on places I can't see in anymore, my friend.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely wild to me, how much low light impacts my ability to read anything. But I definitely consider, when I say reading a physical book, maybe because I like the kind of romance of that, but also maybe reading on my phone, although I don't trust myself to be reading on my phone and then not switch over to something that's a little bit more kind of instant gratification, maybe.
Especially if you're getting notifications.
Totally. So I'm going to really try. And my house is full of books that I have intended to read and magazines. I mean, certainly I have the work side of it. I'm always going to be probably working on a book or two for Livewire, but I just want to really commit myself to spending an hour a day just sitting and reading. And it doesn't have to be anything heavy, but just to try to see if I can kind of rewire my brain a little bit back to where that's enough for it, because it's just like just eating junk food all the time. Eventually, you need everything to be so flavor blasted just for it to taste like anything. And I just need to, but anyway, all that is to say, I wasn't doing that during the break. I was on the internet a lot on my phone, and a lot of it was TikTok. And I saw this ad popped up, and it was for this little like BB gun that was like the size of, imagine it's like the size of a credit card in terms of its, it's a rectangle, but it unfolds and turns into kind of like the shape of like a number 7. It's thicker than a credit card, right? So it's like it's a rectangle that if you looked at it straight on, it looks like a credit card size thing. But if you turned it on its edge, you'd be like, oh no, it's a lot thicker than that. But you unlock it and you open it up, and it kind of turns into a little like a number 7, and the bottom part is a handle, and it has a little trigger on it, and you pull back this thing, and it's a little gun. It's a little BB gun. And I saw this guy, doing some ad where he's out in his yard, and he's got some kind of a little like target setup that's like a tin plate or something. And he's opened up this little BB gun, and he's pulled back the thing, and he kind of shoots it at the tin plate, and it goes plink. And I thought, oh, that's kind of a clever design. And my first thought was, I bet you my nephews would get a kick out of this if they came over. Like, it's this kind of little small thing, but it turns into like a little BB gun. And I even was like I was scrolling down through the webs, like the whatever it is inside TikTok of this thing they're trying to sell me. And it was like, comes with 2 plastic balls or something, because in the hand, like the handle of this little BB gun, there's a little container supposedly for your ammo. And it said it even comes with a couple of like plastic balls or something. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, well, how much does this cost? Because this is kind of a clever little device. I don't know how much BB guns cost anymore, but it was $25.
Oh, geez.
Okay. Super cheap, right? And it was like made in the USA, so-and-so, like, I didn't love the fact that I think it was, like Liberty Times or something. It was like, oh, that's weird. I don't like that stuff. But it's $25. It looks kind of fun. Again, I just thought like, oh, when Jack and Abe or little Luke are over and we went out in the yard and maybe shot this at some tin cans or something, it could be kind of fun. And it's $25. So I hit buy. And then I'm like, as I continue scrolling, and by the way, it's so frictionless with the TikTok shop. They've got my information in there. They've got my address. It's like, it's one of those things where it just takes, and I will tell you this, everything I've ever bought in the TikTok shop has shown up, first of all, very quickly, weirdly enough. Like, it all comes from China, but there must be warehouses in the United States. Because like I was telling you about those Tupperwares that I'm putting the fruit in, I probably put that order in 5 days ago, and they're already at my house. One of them with blueberries in it. So this is all some, as my dad would say, Chinese bullshit, but it's also somehow already over here, which is kind of weird. And I will give them credit. The TikTok shop itself has a very good system for keeping you posted at all times about what's going on with the thing you just bought.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they've clearly identified that something that stresses people out about buying weird crap on the internet is the feeling of like, is it going to show up or not? Did I just like throw my money away? And so like right after you buy something, you get this update in your email, and then they're kind of like, they're keeping you posted on the fact that it's in transit and that it's been delivered. Like, it's a very kind of like, I guess you might say, high touch kind of thing, where they're just really, again, they're really, so for instance, yeah, I'm scrolling back through some of my purchase history. And so this was, I guess, technically the company that I bought this from is called Madavin. It says that we're getting your order ready to be shipped, $25.99, and then the shipping is $5.99, $31.98. Okay, so because what happens on TikTok and the rest of the internet is, we all know this now, if you make the mistake of buying something or putting something in a cart, you will now just get a billion ads for the same thing.
Yeah, even though you already bought it.
Exactly, which is one of the things that's pointed out is like not the greatest system of like, here's what we've got. They bought a thing, now let's just keep showing them that thing. It's like, well, I already have that thing. So literally the second that I hit buy on this $25 BB gun, Now as I'm continuing to scroll through TikTok, every single ad is for this BB gun. But here's the thing. It's not all the same ad. It's not the same guy. It's like different people talking about this thing, and it's different colors of this little BB gun. And there's, you know what I mean? And what these are, I get the sense that there's something where, like, on TikTok, anyone who wants to can just make an ad for a product. Like, I guess you buy the product maybe, and then you make your own ad for it. And what you're hoping is that your ad is compelling because every time somebody buys it, if they click on your link, you get a little small percentage of the sale or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, there's a lot of this that goes on online now. I don't know if it's called affiliate marketing or whatever, but like, so what I'm getting now is just like literally 10 to 20 alternative ads for this, clearly this same little BB gun that I've bought, but I'm still unclear on like what the propulsion is.
Do you
for
still
this.
have the name of it in front of you? Because I'm Googling around and I cannot. I'm trying to spell Madavin and I am not.
Well, that's not
finding
going to be any
anything.
help because that's like a let's see. I'm trying to find.
While you look for that, I want to say while you were describing pulling this thing out that's about the size of a credit card, I was picturing like a slightly bigger version of the cassette tapes that we would put in Sound
Yes.
Blaster, the transformer that was a
Exactly.
boombox, but his chest was like a cassette player holder,
Dude,
and then there were
those
different.
were the freaking.
I had the Eagle one, the one that was a cassette tape that turned into some sort of a robot bird.
I did not have any of those, but I thought those were within the entire Transformers universe. The coolest Transformers were the tapes that went in Soundwave.
Mm-hmm. Soundwave, yep.
I loved those things. Okay, I'm getting a little closer. I'm finding the original. Let's see, buy again. I don't want to buy it. Please don't try to sell it to me again.
You're never gonna see the end of these ads now.
Yeah, I'm trying to get. What I'm going to do, Andrew, is I'm going to take a picture of it and just send it to you.
Okay.
This is not going to really help because this is the little BB gun or whatever it is in its box that it comes in, and so it's not actually in the form. But this will just give you a sense of kind of like, you know what I mean. This is it folded up and in like a little shipping package. Okay. So here's the thing: as I continue to see these ads, what I can't figure out is like, how does this BB gun work? Because one thing is, as you know, BB guns are either you pump them up a bunch so that you build up some pressure to shoot
air,
the BB,
usually, yep.
like an airsoft gun, or some of them might even have like a little canister that you can put in there that's replaceable, that's going to like charge the thing up. Something
like
needs
a CO2 canister, yeah.
CO2 canister. Something needs to propel the BB, and I'm like, what I can't figure out about the design of this little BB gun is like how the BB is propelled, because keep looking at the design, and as I keep getting more ads for it, I keep looking through various different people trying to sell me again this same little $25 BB gun. And finally, I see a guy, and he's showing this thing off, and he's going like, "Here's where the bullets go," and he pops open, I guess you would call it the barrel, the top part of the number 7, and he pulls out a full-on 22 caliber bullet, puts it in the barrel, clicks this little foldable gun back together, pulls back a little, again, I don't know gun terminology. I've never owned a gun. I've never tried to own a real gun. He pulls back a little thing and he fully shoots a 22 bullet at something in his yard, not a BB, a 22 caliber thing. And the sound that the gun makes is a gun ass sound.
And it's definitely this one. It's definitely this guy.
It's definitely this one. And by the way,
for
when you
$25 a 22.
Well, that's okay. So this is what this was the whole journey. Me thinking I was buying a BB gun and being like, that's really $25 is really cheap.
I love how absolutely useless the screen cap you sent me was. There's no like name on it or anything. Like you sent me an image of it, but like it says $25.99. But like, what is it listed as? What does the listing say? How is it?
Let me tell you what it says. This is in Shopify. It says it's you know what it's called? Black.
Okay, black.
That's the name of the product. Okay. It literally just says.
So if I type in black gun, and first of all, I also love the fact that I'm now typing in all kinds of guns into my browser. You just sent me an email with the subject line "gun,"
which is my evil inside.
Really,
okay, hold on.
We're really going to be on some watch lists. Well,
okay, I think I actually just
we're going to be recruited, not on watch lists.
Okay. Let's see. I don't know. I'm trying to. I might be able to find it later. I know. I'm sorry that was not helpful, but that's like as close as I can get to whatever the original. If we were scrolling my stupid TikTok feed, we'd be seeing nothing but ads for this thing. But so here's the deal. All of a sudden, I'm like, well, that wouldn't. Part of this makes sense now because there's no way to pump this thing up. There's no way to shoot the BB.
Okay.
There's no place for a canister to go. But a bullet has its own propulsion device in it. That's part of how a bullet works. And if you have a basically, what do you call not the trigger, but is it the hammer? What do you call the part that comes down and basically like activates the back of? We probably have at least a few people out there who know from firearms and are like, oh my God, this is humiliating for them. But like, the thing that gets cocked back, and then what that does is that makes contact that strikes the back of the bullet, which creates an explosion, which propels the bullet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, because the bullet has its
bullet is propelling itself.
The bullet has the propellant in it. A BB gun or a pellet gun, the gun has the propellant, which is air.
Yeah, the BB is not itself like
right.
a projectile.
And by the way,
right?
I found the video of this thing that you're talking about. I'm going to actually play this for real.
Okay.
This is not saying this is.
And I don't know if this is the specific.
It looks like it's called Life Card. The Life Card unfolds. It looks exactly like what you described.
Okay, this is exactly.
This is the Life Card. It's an assassination weapon that can hold a single bullet and have a silencer attached. It looks like.
Let me tell you this.
But when
I promise you that wasn't the ad that I watched.
No, but is this the one that you saw later, though, that scared you?
No, I've never heard the word assassination weapon.
But I see exactly. It folds like a little 7, and then he's putting what looks like a bullet in there. Like you said, it looks like a .22 caliber, although I certainly don't know these things either. And they're out in a field somewhere, and they are shooting cans.
This is the Life Card. It's an assassination weapon that can hold a single bullet
is so
and have
AI,
a
by the way.
silencer attached. It looks like a card, but when opened, it transforms into a gun.
Okay, this is interesting. It looks like... This is weird. So there's a whole bunch of attachments for it, including this one guy has a silencer on it. Other people have other, like, almost like... sights that they've added to it. So it's like this tiny little thing that you can continue to build out. I do wonder if you're in some sort of part of the internet where they're getting around laws by selling one thing that is legal to sell online with like this without a background check, but then you continue to build up around it, and the next thing you know, you have a very dangerous weapon on your hands. I have no idea.
Washington's gun.
Just stay away from James Garfield.
I did help him get elected, though, so I think I have a certain amount of access.
I am super curious as to what the hell you bought, because this would not be legal to sell something that takes bullets like this for $26 on TikTok. Like, that's just not.
That's okay. So that's the other big part of it. So again, just to reiterate, the first ad that I saw, I think they must have had a silencer on it because it sounded like a BB gun when the guy fired it, and certainly. Nobody called it an assassin weapon that holds one bullet. Or I would have been like, miss me with that.
Yeah, of course.
Like literally and figuratively. Also miss me with that if you're if you're an assassin's bullet. So again, I think the first one that I saw, the ad that I saw, I think the guy must have had a silencer on there. I didn't realize this. So that it made it sound when he was firing this thing like a BB gun, right? It didn't sound like, it didn't have the explosive sound of firing a bullet. And then as I continued to see more ads for it and continued to try to figure out what did I just buy? Like, how does this thing work? Then it became, at some point, like I became aware that this is possibly something that fires a .22 caliber bullets one at a time. Like, so, it's like you keep a couple in the handle, or you could, and then you can put them in the barrel. But then I was like, okay, is it legal that I just bought that? Like, am I allowed to buy that on the internet? And it turns out in Washington State, yes. Like, I was like, do I have to register? If I have a .22 caliber gun, do I have to register it in the state of Washington? The answer is no. Andrew, you don't have to register any guns in the state of Washington. If you buy a gun from a gun store or a wholesaler or whatever, they're supposed to have paperwork around it. But like, as far as
federal registry, right? Am I this much of an idiot?
What I did a cursory Googling of this, and what it sounded like to me was in the state of Washington, like, for instance, if this thing shows up and it's a gun, technically speaking, I don't have to register it in the state of Washington. I don't have to like call up the governor and say, And by the way, I would be very surprised if there's very stringent federal gun legislation, considering how powerful the NRA has been as a lobbying organization. I mean, what are the federal gun laws of the moment? I'm not sure on that, actually, because I feel like there are some places that it's pretty unregulated. There's some states where it's pretty Wild West, right?
Yeah, I would assume. And by the way, I'm doing a lot of Googling on this. I have a report for you, but it's not going to clear everything up, but it's going to get us a little bit closer to what's going on if you're interested.
Well, the end of this, not the end of the story, but the place where we're at in the story is I can't, even if I accidentally bought something that could theoretically fire a .22 caliber bullet. Well, first of all, I'm just going to throw it out when it gets here, but also there's no way that can be $25.
No.
Like, I think I probably just got ripped off. Like, I'm very curious about what is going to arrive at my house, because while I'm a little unsettled that I may have purchased a firearm off the internet, I also cannot believe in a universe. I refuse to believe in a universe where I can order a functioning firearm of any caliber for $25. Like, whatever is going to show up is going to be such, again, to go back to old Walt B., it's going to be such Chinese bullshit that it actually is a calming effect for me. Like, it's actually calming me down, because whatever, like, I had a moment of being like, holy shit, did I just violate the law here?
Right,
like, accidentally. Did I just do something illegal by buying a real firearm off the internet without going through the proper channels or whatever? That was that was a real fear that I had. And then I was like, wait a minute. It can't be $25. Whatever they're going to send me is going to be so janky. It is going to be so non-functional that I don't think I actually have to be that worried. I think I want to get it in the mail so that I can open it and tell you about it and tell the audience about it, and then probably throw it out immediately, or keep it, because I bet you anything it doesn't work.
So this is interesting, and I could maybe play some more audio of this. So one person is talking about exactly a similar experience to yours. It says, I just saw an ad for a pocket guard, which is a foldable .22 caliber pistol shaped like a credit card. It's being sold for $25.99. It sounds like a great deal. Clicking on the link takes you to a website called Outpeed. And there's a screen. I thought it was Outspeed at first, but it does say Outpeed. And so that's weird. And then a bunch of people they're saying, I think this is a scam. And then all these other people are saying, oh, you're saying that a $26 .22 caliber pistol being sold from a place called Outpeed on TikTok is a scam. In other words, everybody's just sort of dunking on the original poster here. But now I'm on a website called, and by the way, you want to talk about rip my ads, because RIP to like whatever was being targeted towards me. I'm no longer going to be advertised grapefruits from QFC as I scroll through TikTok, clearly, because I'm going to get nothing but gun ads.
It's all about tactical. Andrew, it's just all about tactical gear, dude.
But there is something. So I'm on a website called Trailblazer Firearms.
Oh, good.
And they have a special page set up
their
called
politics are amazing.
/fake life card. Notice, warning, fake life card. We have been made aware of a copy of our life card that is not a real gun. It does not chamber a .22 WMR cartridge and does not have a serial number. It is prominently marked with a GG in place of our logo, like the letter G twice. This is a fake, not made or sold by Trailblazer Firearms. Unfortunately, the copycats use our name and our trademarks along with our photos and videos. We understand that these have been selling for around $30 or $40, and they ship directly to the customer's house. All real firearm sales must be handled through federal firearms license to complete a transfer. We only ship our guns to another FFL. So there are some laws around this. So it sounds like maybe the thing that, this is my guess as I try to put this all together in real time here, my guess is that there is this place called Trailblaze Firearms that makes something like this, that was the OG, and it does fire real .22 caliber bullets. And now somebody has basically taken that and made a very cheap version of it that probably shoots BBs or pellets in some way. I'm guessing spring loaded. I'm guessing that maybe what you're getting is a really, really cheap BB gun that maybe is a spring, because that is another option for BB guns, like a spring loaded one, but those tend to I think not be, I didn't even know if they still made those. I feel like that's an antiquated and not very strong propulsed BB situation, right? Could be wrong about that. So that's my guess, is that we're now seeing these weird ads like that one I just called up that called it an assassination weapon.
Jeez
I think
Louise.
that they're like trying to. I mean, in a certain way, I think it's a good thing that you got scammed, but
Yes,
you didn't get
100%.
scammed because you wanted a little toy. But I think what they're trying to do is convince people that they're selling this actual secret 22 caliber. That's such a hard word for me to say. Gun, but they're mad that somebody's ripping them off and
Right.
selling a BB version online, and you're like, "Oh, good, I got a BB version. That's what I wanted." That's what I'm hoping is the case here.
That's what I think is the most likely scenario because of the price point, right?
Yeah.
Like because of it being so incredibly cheap that I feel like it's going to look pretty similar. Now I'm at this website of this other like gun thing that you're talking about, and like it looks. I think my guess is it's going to look very similar to that, and it's going to be essentially non-functional.
I'll be
like,
interested
because
if it
it's
has
so
that
cheaply made.
GG logo that this place was claiming. I wonder if you got
Yeah.
that exact one, or I mean, at this point, it could just be a million different copycats of this or whatever. But again, we're just hoping that you did get a copycat. That's all. That's all you want. Like you don't.
Yeah,
and it could be
and
fun. By the way, I'm with you. I got my BB. My mom was very anti-gun, but I think somehow. I wore my parents out. By the time I was 13 or maybe even 14, I finally got a BB gun, and then I kind of a couple of BB guns, and I loved them. And when I bought this house here in Seattle, I was like, is there room in my life for a BB gun now? But I still don't have a place that I would feel comfortable taking something that looks like a real gun, even into my backyard, and even shooting cans with it. I just think that it would freak people out. And, you know, plenty of people walk by our little yard or whatever, and I don't think it would actually be dangerous the way I would do it, but it could certainly look dangerous, and it could also be dangerous, I suppose. So I'm not doing it. But like for decades now, I've been thinking, God, could I ever get a BB gun again? They are fun.
Yes, and we had one. We had like a classic like Daisy kind of BB gun or something that was like for some reason lived in my parents' closet.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it was definitely like you're not allowed to. Like, I was never allowed to go get the Daisy BB gun without my dad and like, you know, run around with it or shoot, you know, it at cans in the backyard as a kid or anything. It was even as a BB gun, it was treated like a firearm basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a very weird experience because like, yeah, for me to have this kind of moment of possible realization that I have like, and by the way, I'm looking at the website of the place that makes this thing. It's $350, the real thing.
Uh-huh.
The real one is $350. So
and
like,
probably,
again,
it looks like it gets shipped to some sort of like official dealer that
must.
According to that website, then it does get registered with the government and then sold.
Yeah,
out
as
to
well
you.
it should.
Yeah.
But like it was a very strange thing for me to just be like, to like actually have a moment. I wouldn't call it a full panic because I thought, well, I can always just literally throw it out when it shows up and just like the problem is solved. But to just be like, because I guess what it really goes to is my conception of myself. Like I am so not a gun person. I so do not want to have guns in my home. I so do not think that they make any part of our lives better. And I think that they're such an incredibly sort of pernicious force in our society. To feel like I just accidentally became a gun person was really weird for about an hour.
Yeah, no, I could imagine that. And also just thinking like, what kind of a digital trail am I leaving here, honestly? Just like, is it just weird? You know what I mean? Like, am I now officially on the list of somebody who bought this thing? Now, I want to bring, believe it or not, and I had a feeling this might happen when I looked at the show sheet and when I mentioned to you my dream last night, but I want to bring this back to bananas for a second, if you can believe it. I'm being serious here. Have you seen these commercials that totally plays into the idea that the world is, I mean, it's everything that you and I hate. It plays in this idea that this world is a really scary place. You see this woman, and she's like, she just looks like a middle-class woman in her 30s or something, and she's walking through the streets of what is clearly supposed to be like Portland or Seattle with rioters and homeless people, and it's just
TV
like it looks all.
commercial?
Yeah, we saw it on TV. I think during football games or something. There's like all this violence, and she's like, "Are you know, if you live in this world with all of these violent protests or whatever, you might feel unsafe. But I have my banana. I'm going to play this for you." And she's walking around with a banana, like a perfect little banana that's peeled, and I don't know if she's taken a bite out of it or not, but it's like kind of a perfect banana peeled halfway down, and she's carrying it as she walks through the streets, and I think various scenarios.
With riots and violent looting going on all over the country, I don't feel safe leaving the house without this banana. Normally, I would be worried about this creepy guy, but I've got my banana with me. That same car has been sitting outside my house for a while now. Better keep this banana by the door.
Sounds ridiculous, right? Now imagine this banana was capable of incapacitating an attacker from over 60 feet.
Now, I am going to stop the commercial there because I don't want them, I don't know if they're going to say the name of their brand, and I don't want to help advertise even in the most anti-advertiserial way. I don't want to give their name out, but I think what it is one of those ads that is selling, and I haven't even looked this up yet, but I think that if you then go and you look up this brand, you see that they're actually selling some kind of a gun that they're probably not allowed to sell on television, and so they insert a banana instead and make all the talking points about a banana. But then you're like, what the hell is this banana commercial? Banana breath. And then you look it up and you see that it's like some sort of a weapon.
Yes, it looks like it is. I'm on the case. It's a less than lethal defense pistol, is what
That
their
looks
website
like a gun,
says.
though, right? I'm sure
It looks exactly like a gun, but it's something that's maybe not quite as, maybe hopefully not quite as lethal, but is like. Also, what's weird is I found the same ad you're talking about. It's, and you might have mentioned this too. It's so clearly AI.
Oh, I did not mention that, but it does feel
not
fake. You think that's not a real person?
Yeah, well, on Reddit, someone says, this stupid ass AI banana shit. And as I'm watching it, I think she's AI. I don't think that she's a real person. The alleged sort of.
Are you watching it? I'm going to send you another one because
yeah.
for the same brand, here's another commercial. And I'd never seen this one before, and I'll play the audio here. I'm going to just respond to your email that says gun, Luke, and send you a link to another commercial. And this is on that website iSpot, so it truly did air on TV. It's not like a YouTube thing. And this guy looks like he's standing in his kitchen. And I'm just curious, by the way, if you think he's AI too, because I didn't clock that on her, but I totally believe
Imagine
you.
This banana is a lethal launcher, capable of shooting rock-hard kinetic and tear gas mixed with pepper chemical irritants.
The ammo can incapacitate an attacker from 6.
Okay, so it's a whole bunch of people, and they're all just holding bananas in various rooms of their house, talking about what the banana can do. It's an I gotta say, this is where we get into the conversation about what is good advertising and what isn't. Like, this seems like this seems so. I know I use this word a lot, but it's so pernicious. It feeds on like by whipping up fear and then feeding on those fears to sell more weapons to Americans. It's everything I absolutely hate.
Would you feel differently about it if you knew the company was based in Scottsdale?
Yeah, I'm shocked.
Peace and love to our listeners in Scottsdale, but that's the most Scottsdale thing I've ever seen.
But does it work as an advertisement? Absolutely. You see this thing and you're like, well, what the hell are they advertising? And next thing you know, you're on their website.
Well, you know, a less, like I would say, a less sort of dangerous and horrific version of that in ads that I thought was really good. You might have talked about this on After These Messages. Was the commercial where everyone's walking around with ice cream cones? And the ice cream cones are, I think they're probably supposed to be iPhones maybe or something.
Yes, I don't like that. I mean, I like that ad.
You don't like that ad?
I like that ad if it were advertising ice cream. That ad makes me want ice cream cones so badly, something that I never really crave. And the thing is, yeah, I think it's supposed to be like either a Samsung or some sort of anti-iPhone commercial. And it's like kind of making fun of people who have iPhones, but they're replacing their iPhones with ice cream cones. I feel like the message is muddled. And also, people like ice cream. Replace the iPhone with something that I don't like. Why?
See,
it makes me want an iPhone and an ice cream cone.
I had a different reaction because one of the things they're having people do with the ice cream is like a bunch of stuff that ice cream cones you don't want to do, like put it up against your face or like stare into it or like smash it into something or poke it. Or I know what you mean. The ice cream does look pretty delicious in it, but it makes, and I say this as an iPhone user, it makes all of the iPhone users really look like sheeple who are being really kind of dumb and think they're cool, but are actually just staring into an ice cream cone in some way.
Yeah.
That was kind of my take on it.
That's definitely what they're going for, but it doesn't work for me because I think they make the ice cream cone look so good. And I just don't think they sell the point enough. Like, do you remember this? So this is for Google Pixel, so obviously going after the iPhone here. But Samsung, a long time ago now, had an ad that really went after the sort of quote-unquote sheepleness of iPhone users. And they did a better job of of it by like making fun of people who wait in long lines for the new iPhone release or something, and they all seem grim and miserable, but they have to get their new iPhone or whatever. I don't really share those feelings. I don't care what kinds of phones people use, and so I don't buy into that whole narrative. But at least for me, from an advertising standpoint, that made sense to me. You seem like they drove home this idea that an iPhone just is a miserable existence because you're chained to that experience or whatever. This just, I don't know, man. I'm rewatching it now. When they take the ice cream, like a woman takes an ice cream cone out of her purse, but it's still in perfect shape. There's a woman using an ice cream cone as a phone while she's making a viral video. They're showing these sign makers throw up this big billboard that says the all-new Vanilla Pro, and it looks like an
that's
iPhone
also
commercial.
part of the joke, right? Is that you're being so vanilla by having an iPhone, which I think is kind of a pretty clever idea.
But it looks so tasty, though. Like, I don't know. I can't get over this. And I'm not saying I'm right about this. I'm just saying these are my feelings about it. Like, this ad totally doesn't make me feel negatively about the iPhone. It makes me kind of iPhone curious and certainly ice cream curious. Maybe I'm just hungry, my dude. I don't know.
Well, because here's where this is why I think the commercial works for me. I hate being sticky. It's one of my, I mean, nobody loves it, but like I particularly hate it. I hate having food on my face. I hate having sticky food on. And so when I'm seeing someone like, I'm watching one of these versions too of this commercial where people are trying to tap pay with their ice cream cone, and it's just like smashing it against the little tap pay thing, or like, somebody's like, again, trying to type into it, but their fingers just going right into it. All I can imagine is how sticky everyone's hands are, how melty the whole thing is. Like, it actually, for me, because of how much I despise that feeling, it's creating for me a negative association with the iPhone.
So you and I are exactly alike in that. I hate stickiness. Like, and I'll put up with it because I like certain foods that you wouldn't put up with. Like, I will sit down for a full thing of like ribs or something, but hopefully I will make sure nobody in the room is looking at me, and that I have like 3 paper towel rolls
of wet naps next to you.
Exactly. So I really hate that feeling too. And so, as somebody with a beard, I don't eat ice cream cones hardly ever either, because then it's just really hard to get out. And so I'm totally with you on that. But I don't feel like this commercial leans into that enough, because that's my problem with it. Almost every situation,
the ice cream looks good.
One exception: a man goes to pick up his keys and his wallet and his ice cream cone off a table, and when he picks it up, you see that it's left a little bit of stickiness behind. But in every other situation, even when they're going to pay for something at a POS station, you see them smash the ice cream cone down, but they don't show them pulling the ice cream cone back and leaving gunk and stickiness.
Yeah.
People are holding up to their faces, but they're pristine. You never.
Yes.
If they were showing these people getting smeared by ice cream, I would be
Or
revolted.
if they're melting and it's hitting your hand in that way, that would be. I think you're right. I do also. I think they use like the Nancy Sinatra like song "Sugar Town."
Oh, which I also love.
I'm just such a fan of this song.
Luke, I forgot about that. I'm glad you mentioned that. I love that song so much too.
But that also then only adds to the makes you more excited about what everyone's doing in the commercial.
It really does. And again, as somebody who hates everything you just said about the experience of eating ice cream, or an ice cream cone specifically, only more so because of this mustache situation I got going on. How did they make this commercial that is supposed to make me feel bad about another product make me feel better about 2 products I'm not usually interested in? But again, I sound like I'm arguing with you, Luke. I just feel passionately about this, but I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying, for me, it just doesn't work.
Here I go once again with the email. Every week, I hope that it's from a female. Oh man, it's not from a female.
Alrighty, emails or V-mails?
Yeah, I got a voicemail for you here, Luke, from across the pond, as it were. Why were we talking about Macbeth before the holidays?
I feel like maybe I was mentioning Hamnet.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
That movie that's getting a lot of Oscar love about.
Oh, is it? Is it getting good
about
reviews?
Shakespeare? Oh, yeah, hugely. I think I wouldn't be shocked to see it actually win the Oscar.
Interesting. Yeah, I only saw the trailer. It didn't look like a movie for me necessarily. But anyway, we were talking about Macbeth and like how I think you made a reference to like, oh, they call it the Scottish play because supposedly
I think you said that because I couldn't remember. I think you might have brought it up. Like, it's bad luck to say the name in the theater.
Yeah.
Like, so you say the whatever the other thing instead of saying the name of it or something.
Yeah, and I feel like we both maybe fumbled our way through that, kind of not knowing what we were talking about, myself especially. And we got this voicemail from listener Avalon.
Ahoy, hoy, friendos. This is Avalon, your Scot 10, but I'm not
Hey.
Scottish, as you can tell. I'm from San Diego. But I was just listening to the latest episode of TVTL, and I had to chime in with the whole Scottish play, Don't Say Macbeth in the theater, it's cursed. And I used to tour a one-man performance of Macbeth called Is This a Dagger, where a well-known, beloved Scottish actor played all the roles. It's very good. We've taken it all over the world. And he told me, because he's a huge history of Scotland guy, that the reason why they say it's cursed is not because it will actually bring you bad luck, but because at the time that Macbeth came out, it was so popular that there were groups of actors who traveled around the country being the United Kingdom, and they could play all of the roles. So you had basically a on-demand group of actors who could just bring you Macbeth. So if you owned a theater and you're doing a show and it's not going well, the producers would often be like, "Well, we could just get Macbeth in because those guys are always around, or we can bring them in; they're not far away." And so they would say, "Don't say it," because saying Macbeth meant the show was really bad, and they were going to replace it with Macbeth. And over time, it became known as the Scottish play instead of Macbeth, and don't say it because it's a curse. But really, it was a curse because it was so good that any new work was under threat of being replaced. I hope this made sense. Love you guys. What you do is so important. Bye.
Hey, thanks, Avalon.
That's amazing.
Fascinating, right?
Totally fascinating. So in other words, it was sort of a job protection thing. It was like, if you were in a play, don't give the theater owner any ideas about firing all of you and bringing old Macbeth back, which was always popular. It's called Is This a Dagger? That was the one man show that Avalon was touring with.
Did Avalon say that? Because I started Googling right away trying to figure out who she was protecting there, and I was wondering if it was Alan Cumming, because he did a one man show of Macbeth that apparently was wildly popular. But
I think she said that the name of the show was Is This a Dagger? Which has me thinking about my one man show, Is This a Gun?
Yeah, right? I would make that the show title, except I don't feel like that's
let's not.
Good SEO.
It's my
for
1 hour
us.
meditation on did I buy a gun on the internet accidentally.
Well, I will say that I hope I didn't step all over your story there. I'm really fascinated to find out what ends up going on with this.
I kind of am too. Like, A, I should be more careful about the crap I buy on the internet. I mean, that's an obvious one. But B, I am genuinely very curious about what is going to get delivered to my house for $25.99. I hope at least it's something. Like, in other words, I hope it's not a total a total scam to where like literally they just never and it would appear. I mean, I'm getting these updates from the TikTok shop, and again, the TikTok shop historically I've never bought something off of there that then hasn't arrived. So I do think that they have some kind of quality control, not quality control, but like there's some kind of a deal that I think if you're selling stuff through the TikTok shop, you have to probably actually mail it out, because otherwise you'll get kicked off of there pretty quickly. But what it is that will arrive here is the real question.
My prediction is you're going to love it. My prediction is people who feel like it's a ripoff or a scam are looking for a more powerful gun. I think you're going to get a probably somewhat chintzy toy. I mean, my one thing would be if it's really chintzy, maybe be careful around it, especially
like if
with
it's
the youth.
Dangerous.
Yeah, if it if the BB kind of goes out,
if it's going to hang fire on me.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know.
No,
what that
I
means.
think I'm again, we will see what actually shows up here, but my expectations are very low, which is actually a good thing. Like, I'm not hoping for a functioning illegal firearm.
No.
As I'm sure a lot of the people that buy it would be.
It would be amazing if I end up buying. If we just end up like moving a bunch of units on this thing.
Oh, I hope not. I sure hope not. Okay. Well, we're already doing that thing. We're only 2 days into the week, Andrew, and we're doing that thing where it's like, I'm looking at the show sheet. We got to talk Marty Supreme at some point.
Okay. Yep.
I want to tell you about my newfound handyman status, where I actually tackled something last night at my home that I'm very proud of, because it's the kind of thing that I normally just like freak out and call someone, call the fix-it guys to come out on, but I fixed it myself. So we're going to have plenty to talk about. Also, I've accidentally turned the Madrona Hill studio into a shoes-off environment, Andrew.
Oh, Jesus.
Just some real camel's nose under the tent going on here. So much to discuss as the week continues, but we will pick this conversation up tomorrow when we bring you more Imaginary Radio. In the meantime, thanks for listening. Have a great Tuesday, everybody, and please remember, no mountain too tall.
And good luck to all.
Power out.